Welcome to Yakima Southwest Rotary. All right, I have, let's see, do I have Steve Altick doing invocation? Steve? I think I saw you here.
You walked right by me.
I know. I saw you.
Yeah, good. How's everybody doing? Let's bow your heads. We'll pray together. Heavenly Father, we just come before you right now and a privilege of prayer and to thank you for all the blessings. We thank you for this club, everybody that's in it, and the things that we give to do. So we pray you'll give us wisdom and opportunities to serve our community, and we thank you for this time together today. In Jesus' name, amen. You join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Steve. Liberty will have you come up and do an introduction of guests.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Liberty, and today we have a few guests with us, full room. So I want to start out with Nicole Donegan. Welcome. She's from Downtown Rotary. Welcome. Also, today we have John Ball with Yakima Downtown. All right. Well, welcome. I have a guest, Ken Gola. Richard Perez. You have a guest, Sergio Batista. Hi, Sergio. And then back to Nicole. Nicole has brought two guests today, Amy Forrest and Megan Beck, and they're guests of Nicole who are interested in joining Southwest. So welcome. And that's everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Liberty. All right, club announcements. Few to go through. So I thought, did I see Jill Falk in the room? Jill Falk, 25 years of service. Thank you, Jill. Craig Dwight with 15 years of service. Craig, thank you. I think Martin's traveling, but Martin's got 14 years of service. Ann Bowen with 12 years of service. Thank you, Ann. And then Riley Wilkinson with 6 years to the club. Thank you. All right. I got asked last week about when we put the birthdays up. Usually I try and do it the week leading up to and week after. So Joanne Miller recently celebrated her birthday. So happy birthday, Joanne. Brian McCown coming up on the 22nd. George Allen celebrating a birthday on the 24th. Happy birthday, George. Kathy? Liberty had a birthday on the 11th. And I don't know, did I announce it last week? I don't know. I'll have to go look at last week's slide. And then I also got a phone call because I believe it was Jason Kildall's birthday on April 2nd. And it wasn't on here. And I said, well, I have a reason why it wasn't on here is because it's not in Club Runner. So I put it in Club Runner. So hopefully Lynn will catch it next year. So we'll get you next year, Jason. Happy belated birthday to Jason Kildall. Happy belated birthday, Jason. Elliot Reese coming up on the 26th. And then our very own Bob Knutson. He's not, I don't think he's with us today, is he? Where is this? Hey, Bob. Okay, I did see you, Bob. That's right. We're looking forward to celebrating your birthday, Bob, on the 28th, the day before at our Rotary auction. The 29th. Happy birthday, Bob. Coming up. All right, we had a fireside new member orientation hosted by Tammy and Lizzie. Do you want to share about it, Tammy?
Oh, it was great. So we just had a small gathering of some of our new members and some of our not as new members, and we just shared about committees and just a little bit about Rotary in general and our Rotary especially. So it was a great couple of hours, good fellowship, and yeah.
Cool.
And Lynn had previously hosted the month before.
So is that your palace?
Yep. Thank you, Tammy, for hosting that. And then in the coming weeks, we'll be seeing signups for committees for next year. So we'll be looking to get those passed out here probably just after the auction is when we'll start pushing those out to everyone so you can get signed up for your favorite committee to serve on. There's a golf tournament in July the 17th. And it is the Molly Davis Golf Tournament. If we have 4 spots for the golf tournament, if you would like to try and golf on the Southwest Rotary team, we have 4 spots for that. We're just going to have people, we'll enter your name in, and then we'll draw names out, and then that will make up our team for Southwest Rotary. Is how we're going to do it this year. So if you would like sponsorship information, we've got it in our bulletin as well. You can get a hold of Taylor. He's going to be the contact for the club for the Rotary Trust Golf Tournament. All proceeds go to the Yakima Rotary Trust. Molly Davis will match, I think it's up to about $45,000 to $50,000 of the funds raised at this golf event. And we'll be looking to do, I think, a dinner celebration, a Rotary Trust celebration, the evening before or 2 days before, that also gets to count towards that match from Molly Davis Trust. So, any questions with that? Craig.
The trust has sent out an invitation also.
Yep.
So you can play if you want to play.
Yeah, you can pay if you want to play too, and you can sign up to pay that way. Yes. Go ahead, Joanne. Scramble, I believe. Yep.
Everybody hits, and then they pick the best ball, and then
you play from the. Yep. It's kind of a fun for all. Yep. And they have a women's long drive and men's long drive, and closest to pin, and then they have like who can hit a marshmallow the furthest. So, it's a great fundraiser for the trust. Okay, not to sound bipolar. Last week we're sold out. This week we have tickets. Well, guess what? People that bought tickets said, well, I'm sitting at this table, or hey, I'm not filling this table, so they're opening more seats up. So if you haven't signed up and you're really wanting to go to the auction, there's still room for you to get signed up for the auction, okay? So we've been adding, last week we didn't think we had a wait list, and then all of a sudden, literally on Monday, we had about 10 spots that opened up. 10 to 12, so, okay. Great, we'd love to see you there. Silent auction procurements are due today. Thank you, everyone that's done that. So, yes. Thank you, Nicole and her crew. They were working this weekend. Yeah. I don't know how many hours do you think you have into silent auction so far? Just throw a stab at it. Okay. Few days. We're not live, so we're not going to get busted by work, you know. Okay.
I worked pretty much all day Sunday, and then all day yesterday, and all day today.
Yeah. So she's putting in probably at least 50 plus hours just on silent auction. And then, so if you are interested in helping for setup, more than happy to have you. Reach out to Nicole. You can email her and get information for helping set up for the silent auction. And that's going to be the day of on Friday, the 28th. We're planning to have a limo at the entrance of our auction, and you can kind of use that as a photo opportunity. We're going to have a red carpet. We may have people there taking some pictures. So Jason's done a really good job of planning and doing the design and the layout. So really looking forward to just having a fun time and raising money for the club. So yesterday was such a beautiful afternoon in the Yakima Valley. Right around 5:30, John Ball and I were down at the parks shooting a video in pouring rain and wind for our auction. So hopefully Riley and Paige Wilkinson work their magic and make us look good. So that was fun yesterday afternoon. It's like the worst day we could have done it. I want to thank our sponsors, Leonard Rickey Investment Advisors. They're our title sponsors, so thank you to them. I want to thank Kashmir Valley Bank and Farmers Insurance for the beverage and dessert dash sponsors. We want to thank our entertainment sponsors of Stevens and Granados Attorneys at Law and Tri-Ply Construction. Thank you, Tammy, again. And Wes Morris and Charlie Egland. And then Jason is our silent auction sponsor. So Jason does event planning, and he's been so gracious to donate a lot to our club as part of that, but has also been involved as chairing behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. So thank you, Jason, for all the work you're doing for that. Fusion events. So thank you, Jason. All right, and then 5060 District Conference is at Leavenworth on the 19th through the 21st. If you haven't signed up for that, I think their early bird special is getting ready to expire. So looks like a great conference, and it's a new format. So we'd love to see you up there. And then other club announcements. I believe, John, you have a club announcement. Do you want to come up and talk to the mic, or do you want to project your voice from there?
Most people can hear me talk, unfortunately. Most people have heard me talk way too many times over the last few years. But I'm only here because, as Dirk mentioned yesterday, we did a little video thanking Southwest Rotary for all the support of the Rotary auction. And one of the things I mentioned was that Southwest Rotary is actually, compared to the other two clubs, which shall remain nameless, actually contributed more to the Rotary marketplace than the other clubs. And so as a result, I think it's only proper that you should also contribute more labor to the last stage of the project, which is to lay the pavers, which we will be starting on probably the week of May 1st, April 30th or May 1st. The pavers are small, so you can handle them all, and there's only about 14,000 of them. So Bruce said he could do most of them, but the rest of you could help out. And if you could just let us know today, we'll send you information by email on the various shifts. The shifts will be 3 hours long. They will actually be a variety of things, from laying pavers to actually delivering the sand to go in front of the pavers, to straightening things up, and also perhaps helping with some refreshments along the way. But it should take about 3 to 4 days if everybody comes to work. And, so we'd really appreciate as much help as you possibly can give during those times. Thinking about shifts from like 11 in the morning to 2 to 2 to, 8 to 11, 11 to 2, and 2 to 5. And, whatever you can do will be great help. Curtis also wants to be there. You're going to be under the fine direction of Sig Fossum, Jimmy DeGrasse, Jordan Matson, and Brad Kessinger. And they can tell you what to do. I will be sitting in a high chair under an umbrella. So anyway, we'd really appreciate the help, and just get your names in, and it would be great to have you help. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Sean.
Just get your name into either Dirk or to me. I'm in the blue book, and just send it in to me. Just all you have to do right now is just say your name that you're willing to help, and we'll send out something to you, and then you can sign up for whichever shift you want. Because we're not exactly sure which day we're going to start yet, because it depends on the weather. We're kind of waiting on it. If you haven't been down there, you should go down and take a look. It's almost done, but it seems like it isn't, because you still have some scaffolding, and we're waiting for stucco to dry, and it can't dry when the weather's not great. And I should also thank Wes Morris in this club, who has been incredibly helpful in getting all these little pieces together. And I will point out to you that when Taylor and Dell and I decided that this would be a great project for our president's year, we thought this wouldn't be too much trouble. Well, it's slightly more trouble than we thought. So, but it's going to be great, and we really appreciate the help. So, thanks a lot.
Thank you, John. If you want to, I don't want to send another email to, well,
Just send to me.
okay, you can send it to John. If you can't find John, find the bulletin email, reply to the bulletin, and just shoot me an email about paver help, and then I'll get that forwarded to John. Okay, so just email.
And I'll probably have Carolyn send something out to everybody.
Okay, yeah, if you have her send something, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Cut out the middleman, John. Let's do that. All right. Does anybody else have some announcements for the club? All right. So, a lot of times with Sergeant of Arms, something comes up and they got to do some swaps. Matt and Steve did a swap because I think Steve had something come up, so Matt covered for him. Well, lo and behold, Steve, I believe, had emergency surgery, had his appendix taken out yesterday. So I thought, why not get more mic time? Why mix it up, So, and this made me do some stuff that I've been putting off because I've been busy. So I'm going to start off with the raffle. And if we could have the gentleman from Fusion Events draw the raffle ticket, Mr. Jason Kildall. Do you want to get out your raffle tickets? All right, thanks, Jason. Last three digits are 807. 205, 807. All right, Joanne. Here we go. Here comes Joe with the cards. She's looking to pull the Queen of Hearts. $262. She can find the Queen of Hearts. Queen of Spades. Okay, her default winnings is $20. I believe you can buy raffle tickets. They're $5 a ticket or $5 for $20. Is that correct? So thank you, Joanne. Does anybody have some happy bucks? Anybody have happy bucks? Ann, I know Ann does. Started us big, Ann. Thank you, Ann. Any other happy bucks? Tammy, you got some happy bucks?
I have two happy bucks. Thank you so much to my co-host Lizzie, and also to Dave Lemon, who shared 31 plus years of Rotary experience with our new members. So thank you.
Thank you. Stephanie.
So Ann just got back. I have 5 happy bucks that I'm finally leaving Friday after 2.5 years of COVID and postponement. My daughter's getting married next weekend.
Woo! Very cool. Where are you headed?
New Zealand.
Oh, wow. Are you going to meet up with Martin while you're there?
No, as a matter of fact, I talked to his daughter today, and no, I'm not.
I think Martin's in New Zealand for 3 weeks or something like that. Lynn?
So I have two happy bucks. We took our grandson to Dozer Days on Sunday. Yakima did an amazing job with that. I highly recommend it for you to do kids or your own kids next year. Nicely done, Yakima.
Thank you. Dozer Days, that's fun. That's fun for adults. Tell you what. You want to run a backhoe, that's fun. Go ahead, Bill.
I have a happy buck. When you mentioned marshmallows, that reminded me that in the month of March, Josh and I were able to go up to White Pass every Friday in the afternoon, and they brought up middle schoolers from the White Pass School District and from the Yakima School District from Wilson and Washington, and brought them up and taught them how to ski. And when you said marshmallows, that reminded me of one of the things they asked the kids to do was in order to get them to lean forward, they told them, well, put a marshmallow in the front of your seat. It's not a good idea. If you forget to take them out. At the end of the day, it was a mess.
Are you supposed to like squish the marshmallow? Is that what they're supposed to do to get them?
Did a good job.
Nicole? Cool. Thank you. Any other happy bucks? Yep, Lizzie. Yeah, very cool. Thank you, Lizzie. Any other happy bucks? Any shameless plugs? Oh, wait. Oh, go ahead, Gib. Are you doing? Go ahead, Gib. Are you ready for a happy buck?
I'm ready for shameless plug.
Okay, shameless plug. Floor's yours, Gib.
Right? Okay, so this weekend, Saturday, the Genevieve Band is going to be playing at Weenash Creek Saloon. So if you like high energy, great country music, that's where you're going to want to be from 8:30 to midnight. So.
Cool.
Weenash Creek Saloon in Sela.
It's not all the way out in Weenass? What? They should change the name of that place because I'm thinking it's a 35-minute drive. Go ahead, Ryan. You got a shameless plug?
I got a shameless plug for the Yakima School District. This year, being an off year or odd number year, is an election year. There are 3 seats up for re-election this year on the Yakima School Board. And Thursday night of this week,
Jeez, there's a gentleman that's a big advocate. He stands on 40th and Summit View and 40th and Inglewood. Maybe he could be a school board member. Richard.
$10 for 2 shameless plugs. On behalf of United Way, last week I announced our bingo brunch and handbag event for April 29th, presented by Nordstrom. So we have about 50 tickets left. Amazing $15,000 worth of handbags that they gave us for the event. So every winner, whoever calls out bingo gets to win a handbag. So again, thankful to Nordstrom for that. And then, if you have nothing to do on Cinco de Mayo, we're partnering with Shop's Beer Den. So Trina's an amazing person, amazing individual. For 3 hours, from 5 to 8, every dollar, every beer, wine, and cider that's sold, they will give $1 to United Way for Cinco de Mayo. So if you have nothing to do, but you like to read, May 5th at Shop's Beer Den. I have a few flyers if some of you want to take a flyer with you today. I have them.
All right, Mary.
I have $2 here for Curtis and George. We are going tomorrow to spend 2 nights with Jim and Vicki Black.
Oh,
On Friday before we come home, we're helping the Rotary down there with cleanup.
oh, fun. Service above self. There you go. Thank you, guys. Any other shameless plugs? Ann, the floor is yours.
Okay, great. Hey, and just so you know, that used to be called the wagon wheel.
I heard, yeah.
Old timers in here that used to go out there and throw a hat on the floor and dance around it. That was fun. Yeah, and we asked them to be the wagon wheel. How fun out there.
Okay, Ann. She's-
I'm selling First Key ball drop tickets, and for those of you who don't know, the First Key, Central Washington, we sell golf balls. So we, for $10 a golf ball, and we only sell 1,000 of them. But just so you know, the tickets are $10 a piece. And I've sold to a couple of members here that have won the $1,000, the $500. So anyway, we do 3 cash prizes: the
Thanks, Ann. All right, Gib.
One more shameless plug. This one isn't for me. So this Thursday at 4 o'clock, Keller Williams is having a silent auction. Goes to benefit KW Cares, which helps families all over the nation, as well as Habitat for Humanity. It's getting split up between both of those. So if you'd like to take part, come by Keller Williams Thursday at 4 o'clock.
40th
Yeah,
off of Nob Hill. In the, yep. Thanks, Gib. All right. I was going to do a bingo Sergeant of Arms, but I did put a ton of work into getting some organization, and I'm trying to make space in one of my rooms in my house. So I'm going to zip through this next phase, so I'm not trying to steal your thunder and call out names too quick. But one of the things that we're doing this year is with people that are doing community service within the club. You've emailed me what you've done in the community service. I enter it into the system 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month ago. Anyway, so long story short, I've got members that I want to recognize that have emailed me their community service. So you may have done the community service and you're eligible, you just haven't emailed me that. So I will shoot out another email after the auction because I don't want to overburden you. So Angie Sainsbury, if you can come get your shirt. Joe Harlington, if you can come get your shirt. Renee Coleman, if you can come get your shirt. And I apologize for the women. The women's sizes are running a little bit small. If you need a different size, we have different sizes for you. Brittany Vaughn, is Brittany here? She's not. Lynn Harlington, come get your shirt. Jill Falk, come get your shirt. Jill, you can come get your shirt. You're not cutting in line. You're just. If you want a regular cut shirt, we're working on regular cut shirts. I've got mediums of regular. Nicole Britt. Thank you, Nicole. Jennifer Hawks Conright, come get your shirt. Mark Hummel, please come get your shirt. And Mark technically didn't email me, but I've served with him on these two, so I just made him eligible. Again, I'm making room. So thank you, Mark. Thank you, Jennifer. And then Brittany Vaughn's not here today. She will stay yellow. All of those people now turn orange on my Excel spreadsheet. So how about this? If you haven't gotten a shirt yet, you can give $2. If you've gotten a shirt year to date, you don't have to give anything. That's my Sergeant of Arms for the day. We're not getting into bingo. And if you emailed me and I haven't called out your name, re-email me and I'll reimburse you the $2. All right, so with that, Dave, are you going to introduce our speaker? We'll have Dave come up and introduce our speaker.
Thank you, Dirk. Oh, sorry. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. It is my pleasure to introduce our program and speaker today. We are fortunate to have Greg Nebeker with us. Greg founded Trailseekers of Central Washington back in 1990. Their mission is empowering children with life skills associated with goal setting, value development, and relating to the world around them. They have programs in both Yakima and Kennewick. Trailseekers is an outreach mission supported by First Presbyterian Church. The program provides working solutions for many problems facing at-risk children in our community. A little background on our speaker. Greg is a retired mental health counselor, and for 25 years, he was a foster parent to as many as 10 children at a given time. Amazing. And for the past 33 years, he worked for Trailseekers of Central Washington, the organization he founded, providing family advocacy outreach programs for children. So please join me in a warm Southwest Rotary welcome for Greg Nebeker.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. It is a genuine pleasure to be with you today and to tell you a little bit about Trailseekers of Central Washington. As you mentioned, it's been in Yakima for 33 years. It started back in 1990 at Adams Elementary. After a year or two at Adams Elementary, it spread out to 7 schools in Yakima. Today, it's closely aligned with Adams and Barge Lincoln. We're also closely aligned with the Yakima YMCA and several churches in the Yakima area that also support our program. What I'd like to do today is just tell you briefly a little bit about our organization, then identify some of the problems in this community that we address, and then present you with a solution. Every problem has a solution. And so I'm really excited to be able to tell you that we do have a plan that works in this community. Trailseekers today in Yakima is about 120 families and about 400 children at any given point in time, and it's about the same in the Tri-Cities. Things that make our program unique are, first of all, we have no paid employees. Everybody that works in Trailseekers does it as a volunteer because they're committed to kids and they want to make an impact in the life of a child. No child is ever charged for any Trailseeker activity. No child pays to go to any of our camps. No parent has to be involved. They don't have to provide transportation. We do all of that. And we have a number of programs that we conduct here in the community, and I'll tell you a little bit about those in just a moment. But I am also one who comes to you today speaking from the trenches. I do not work out of an office. I work in the home of the child. When a child comes into Trailseekers, his whole family comes into Trailseekers. And everything we do is in their home. We, Trailseekers is very, very concerned about the youth in our community. And as I say, I speak to you not from statistics or from social service agencies. I speak to you from the trenches. The information that I provide to you comes from the young people we work with. And some of the issues that we have been addressing in this community, first and foremost, of course, is gang prevention. We don't do it as much anymore because they come into the program very young and they do not get involved in gangs. But we did a lot of that in the beginning. We're concerned about drugs, obviously. When you have 3 preschoolers in our state that have died from fentanyl overdose, you realize that we have a huge problem. When you have elementary schools with Narcan in them, when you get reports of high schools that have had to administer that in their school during school hours, you realize we have a very serious problem. We are also concerned about trafficking, and that's not something that's in the media very often, but it's a very real problem. We're concerned extremely about homelessness. We work with homeless families. A lot of kids that are referred to our program are homeless at the time that they are referred. The mental health issues are scary and staggering. A recent poll done with 17,000 high school students yield the fact that 60% of the girls in high school are suffering from depression, anxiety, and mental health issues. 30% of them have considered suicide. We are at a serious mental health crisis, right? You work in it, you know. We are very concerned about the gun violence, and of course, we are horribly concerned about the direction that our young people are going and the kinds of attitudes that they're developing. These things are happening because, to a large degree, of social media And I started talking to our young people about this about 5 or 10 years ago, and now everything that we talked about is coming to fruition. It's very interesting to approach a high school student at 9 o'clock in the evening and ask him to look on his phone and see how many hours he has spent on his phone during the day. I did that last night with a couple of high school students. One was 5 hours, one was 5.7 hours. Now, I'm not here to speak against social media, but I am telling you that when it comes to young people, the things they're looking at are appalling. The things they're doing on social media are staggering, and I'm hearing it from the kids, not from their parents, not from the counselors, but from the kids themselves. We have leadership groups, and we're sitting around a table, and these kids will talk to me very honestly and very directly, and I can tell you social media is a problem beyond anything you can imagine. In fact, to the point that the state of Utah has made a law that you cannot be on social media without parental consent. The second part of that law is the parent has to have access through the media company as to what the child is watching. And thirdly, they are limiting the amount of time. The state of Montana has also, I believe, they've got legislation to outlaw TikTok. Enough said, it is a horrible problem, and it is one that we are fighting every single day. So, you know, it's kind of interesting because we were talking about these problems many years ago. In fact, 10 years ago, I remember a forum at the Capitol Theater here in Yakima where all the community members got together and talked about gang violence and about gangs in Yakima. And it seems that the solution always seems to be to throw more money at the problem. So my question is, why is it that we're spending more and more and more money to try and solve these issues with our young people, and at the same time, the problems are getting worse? What are we doing wrong? What is going on here? So I told you that I had a solution to these issues that I just mentioned. And I can tell you after 30 years that these solutions work. So there's very definitely an answer. And I am going to share with you now something probably you've never heard before. You've never heard these kinds of things before because the way we work with these kids is very non-traditional. But it's interesting that I would come and share with you at this time because we are right now in the process of bringing a new crop into the program. So how does that happen? Well, in the month of March, teachers, counselors at Adams and Barge Lincoln selected children from their school that are considered high risk. They're high risk, A, because they're economically disadvantaged, B, they are a non-traditional family, and C, they have a sibling that's involved in the criminal justice or social service system. We will be able to take 42 of those children and their families into this program. 21 from Kennewick and 21 from Yakima. Almost 100 will be referred. We go to the school and we sit down with these children that have been referred in a small group, and we observe them very carefully for about 5 or 10 minutes and try and determine which of these children would most benefit from our portal opportunity, the way they come into the program, and that is through a camp or encampment in the San Juan Islands. And when these children are selected, they're going to be matched up with a mentor, a high school mentor. So there are going to be 42 children and 42 high school students, and this student will be one-on-one with that child for the entire time, never talking to the other high school students, just totally focused on that child. So once the 21 children from Yakima and Kennewick are selected, the process begins. These children, some of them are 5 years old. And we go into that home and we ask the parent if they would be willing to let their 5 or 6 or 7-year-old go with us for 5 days to the San Juan Islands. Almost all of them say yes. And then we begin a process of allowing the child to get to know us. They're leaving on June 18th. We don't want them going with strangers. They're too small. So we get to know them. We go to lunch and have school, or we go to school and have lunch with them. We go to their homes occasionally, get to know their parents so their parents know us. And we're beginning to build a trust relationship. Now, I will inject right now that you just discovered 42 children that you will never read about in the paper. They're never going to be in gangs, drugs, any of that kind of stuff. Our statistics show it. We've been doing it for many, many years. Many of these little 5-year-olds are now in their 30s, and they're living very productive lives. Some of them have gone on to graduate from the university when the odds they were given when they were 5 or 6 years old, it'll never happen. Why does it happen? Well, let me continue. They leave Yakima on June 18th, and they board these beautiful Starliner charter buses. And the buses take them by way of Anacortes, where they spend their first night, to the Washington State ferries, where the buses board the ferries on Monday morning, and will take them into the San Juan Islands, where they will go to Camp Moran on Orcas Island. While they're at Camp Moran, they have 2 lessons each day that teach them, as little as they are, teach them how to deflect every negative influence in their environment when they return. So all these awful things that they see, we are teaching them how to deal with those things and how not to get sucked into those kinds of behaviors. They're also experiencing a day, if you can imagine, with the Orcas Island Yacht Club, who takes them sailing on these beautiful boats through the San Juan Islands to Jones Island, where they spend a day. These children have never been out of their yard. And all of a sudden, they're sailing through the San Juan Islands with the Orcas Island Yacht Club. They will do all the typical camp stuff. Campfires, sleeping in cabins, all that kind of stuff. But there's a couple of things built into this that I didn't mention. Number one, why in the world do you take them all the way to the San Juan Islands? Well, the reason we take them to the San Juan Islands is because these little guys, when they're separated from everything they have ever known, are going to develop huge dependency bonds with the adults that are working with them, thereby enhancing our opportunity to positively influence them and make sure you never read about them in the Yakima Herald Republic. The second thing we do is it's an encampment. The difference between an encampment and a camp is that a encampment moves all the time. You heard me say yacht club. They go to the zoo on the way back in Seattle. They're just moving all the time. They never eat lunch in camp. Again, that goes a long ways in increasing their dependency. They just cling to you. They just cling to us. Well, by the time that has all happened and camp is over, we return to Yakima. Camp is not over. It's just beginning. We stay with them until they graduate from high school if need be. Some of them middle school, some of them through elementary school. But when we come back, every Monday, we meet with as many of those children as we possibly can to reinforce the principles that they learned at camp. However, it's even more focused on character building when they come back. They're taught all about character and moral development and all these kinds of things again and again and again. And what you're doing is you are building this very strong bond with them. And they really invest in you when they know you really love and care about them. And they will do anything and believe anything you say to them. They're just little guys and they just cling to you. So what we find is they grow up just fine. And they've got all these crazy things going on around them, but they're able to deflect it. We have middle school leadership. We have high school leadership. And that's kind of pushing them into the area of service. When we do this camp, almost all of the mentors from Yakima, the high school mentors, went to the camp when they were 5 or 6 years old as children. And now they're saying to me, I got to give back. I want to give back. I am telling you, there is your solution. And it's not anything that anybody else I know does. It's totally unique to any program anywhere. But who cares? It works. Now, I'm not saying it's 100% foolproof, but I'm telling you there will also be teachers in that camp who would look at you and said, you know, if I hadn't gotten into Trailseekers, I'd probably be in gangs. They will say that to you. But they're not. They're teachers in this camp instead. A few slip through the cracks. I mean, nothing is 100%. And the ones that do slip through the cracks is probably because of the numbers. We were unable to accomplish what I just told you we did. We do it with as many as we can. But every now and then, some go another direction and they slip away. So anyway, I'm happy to tell you that when somebody comes to me and they say, I am so concerned about what I'm seeing happening to our community, and it every day gets worse. This AI is going to destroy a lot of our young people. And you know, it's just something every day that is focused on hurting our kids. But when they come and say, gee, what is the solution? I look at them and I say, the solution is you. And if everybody in this community would say, you know what, I'm going to invest in one of these kids, not like a mentor, but more than a mentor. I'm going to invest in one of these kids. I'm going to really convince them that I care about them. I'll want to know what their grades are. I'll want to know about what they're doing in school. I'll ask them questions about their life and how it's going. I guarantee you, there will be no problems in Southeast Yakima. And as I say, we have the data to prove it. So, you know, there is hope. As far as the spirit of Trailseekers is concerned, ooh, I love that picture. This kid right here is in my leadership program, and this is in late August. We were up at Pinnacle Peak. Now, another thing about the program that is really, really important to realize is the name, Trailseekers. All this that we do it in the wilderness. We take them up in the mountains. And they get up in the mountains, and they're just totally new kids. I mean, they just change. And you can really work with them because they're free of all the garbage in their life, and they just feel a rebirth. They feel like a whole new person. And so we take them back into the backcountry. We hike with them as much as we can, and that really has an impact on them too. So in the few minutes that remain, if your director will push me, this is the spirit. This doesn't tell you anything about trade, but this is the spirit behind what we do. Wow, technology that works. I rarely see it. So though you may never have heard of Trailseekers, there are literally thousands of people in our community that have been involved in this, either as campers or leaders or teachers or whatever. And I would want to also mention that our partnerships are hugely important, but our partnership with the school district is absolutely incredible. They deeply care about these kids. They work with us very closely to make all this happen. And so I consider it a huge benefit to Trailseekers that we've had the Yakima School District for 30 years bending over backwards to help us, and the YMCA as well. So I'm real thankful to our partners. And if you had any questions real quick that you wanted to ask, yes.
Many of those kids, they're absolutely fantastic kids.
I don't hear too well. Could you do?
He just said they're a fantastic kid.
Oh, have you ever seen a little 5-year-old that's not? You get them when they're little. You don't wait until they're in juvenile hall and then say, I'm going to come work with you. You're in juvenile hall. You get them before they get there. And they're so loving, and they're so giving, and they're so much fun. A little hyper sometimes, but yeah, yes.
Do you have things in place that you protect your kids, from any type of, misappropriate?
Oh, absolutely we do. Nobody ever works with any of our kids that we don't run a background check on them. Is that what you mean? We do. We run a background check on them, and nobody can be involved without a personal reference. We don't take references they give us. They have to have a personal reference. Our mentors especially, because when you are going to put adults around children, you jolly well be sure they're really good influences on those children because they have power in their hands. And we're seeing in our society today a lot of negative power that our children are being exposed to, and we have to be sure that our people will be the best possible example for these kids. Yeah, and we have doctors, we have every walk of life working with us, and they volunteer their time. We could never hire them. This camp that we do, it's so expensive, we could never raise enough money to do it. It's hugely expensive. Just imagine what those buses cost and all this stuff we do with them. It's just a huge amount. But we have lots of caring people that make it happen, like you guys. And thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure being with you guys.
Thank you, Greg. Standing ovation. That's awesome. Thank you. It's the great thing about Rotary. You just learn about great programs and organizations that you never knew existed, and it just makes you glow when you walk out of here learning about people like yourself and your volunteers. So anyway, thank you so much. I want to thank Kathy and Liberty for being our greeters and introduction, Steve for our invocation, Dirk for his great Sergeant at Arms, and Greg, thank you as being our speaker again. And with that, our meeting is adjourned.